and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
This is the greatest show!
And now, here's your host, Clint Arthur.
Hey, it's time for my favorite part of the show. That is because I love real estate, and I love houses and homes. And I know, unfortunately, they need repair, and that's why I got this guy here. He's the smartest guy I know. He knows everything about repairing homes. He is the CEO of HomeRepair.com. Tony Silva, thanks so much for coming in studio here today at 77 WABC.
Hey, Clint, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, you got a fascinating story. Let's hear it.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, I guess we'll start this way. Interestingly, I have three dads. My first dad went to Berkeley. He's an educated guy. My parents were divorced before I was actually even born. I spent every other weekend growing up with him. My second dad, my mom married him and divorced him when I was 12. You know, he was an entrepreneur, though. I learned a lot of entrepreneurial skills from him. And then my third dad, Gary, this guy is a tough guy. I mean, he's a contractor. My mom married him when I was 13. I was about a freshman in high school, and I didn't really like him very much, but I mean, I love him to death now. He's the greatest guy ever. He really taught me a trade and a craft. It started off, you know, with him loaning me his old work boots to go work on his construction sites, building custom homes in the, I guess it would have been the early 90s. And I did the jobs nobody wanted to do. I hated this thing. My feet were on fire in these work boots he loaned me. It was terrible. I remember eating my peanut butter and jelly sandwich on a stack of wood and thinking to myself, dude, when you grow up, how about we never have anything to do with construction ever again? I mean, I didn't want nothing to do with it. It was hard work. It's hot. I'm sweaty and I'm in pain, right? So, but you know, I learned to, I guess, have a love-hate relationship for it. I actually enjoyed seeing a house go from nothing, a plot of ground where I'm, you know, cleaning the trenches out before the concrete, and then watching this thing grow and build and become something. And then the people that my dad was building this house for him to give the keys, and they have this new house now. I enjoyed that. I just didn't like the pain of it, I guess, and the heat of it. So I really learned to craft, though, because my stepdad, he didn't give me any special favors, right? I'm not like the golden child, his only son. I'm the brown-headed stepchild. But I didn't get any, like I said, special treatment. I learned the business truly from the ground up. And that led me to moving away at high school. I went to college and I had a job. We just moving furniture, honestly. I couldn't survive. I had two roommates. We're eating chili mac every night. It was rough. And my brother came to me. He was a roofing contractor, and he said, "Hey, you know, why don't you come work for me this summer? Since you're on spring break, or not spring break, but you're on summer break. Why don't you come work with me? And you can make more money in a day than you're making moving furniture in a week." So I said, you know, I remembered my conversation with myself on the wood stack. I'm like, yeah, man, but I'm starving over here. Like, it wasn't that bad, right? So, you know, I took him up on the offer. That very first day, he paid me by how much I installed. And we're talking roofing, Central Valley, California. It was 103 degrees outside, 133 on the roof. And he paid me by how many square feet I installed. It was actually $10 per 100 square feet, if I remember right. And the first day, I installed 200 square feet.
Ouch.
In 10 hours.
133 degrees.
$20. I was mad. I was like, dude, I mean, I don't know if I can do this. He said, you know what? Just put your head down, go to work, give it a week, and then we'll talk again. And I did. You know what? By the end of that first week, I was making $50 a day, then $100 a day, then by the end of summer, I was making $250 a day. I'm 19 years old. Seriously, making $1,250 a week if I worked Saturday and Sunday, which I did, right? My record was 26 days in a row because, I mean, how bad do you want to make money when you've been starving, right? Uh-huh. Like, when's the water going to get shut off? You better make it while you can. And, you know, that was kind of the beginning of it. And from there, I started my own company. Started my own company. I was in 25, so it's been 22 years ago. Started my own company, and it's been nothing but up from there.
And that's evolved into HomeRepair.com, which is one of the leading home repair companies on the Northeast corridor.
You know, I say that I'm an overnight success that took 20 years to happen. I mean, it's not overnight. There's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and, you know, I've made mistakes, but I figured it out. And what we deliver to our customers it's second to none. And we do a great job. And it's the experience. And it goes back to those roots that I learned from my third dad, my stepdad, that tough guy, Gary.
Gary gave you the boots.
Gary gave me the boots.
Okay, and what are those boots? What's the main issue you want to talk about today when it comes to home repair in this segment?
What I want to talk about today is, I guess, leaks. A lot of times people think when they have a leak in their home that immediately it must be coming from the roof, right? I got a leak over here.
The roof is on fire.
That's right. And here's the thing, depending on where you live at in the country, there's, different contractors, different types of contractors. Not everybody is the right contractor that you need to call, right? And in today's age, we're super busy. We don't have time to research the guys that we're going to hire. And really, when it comes to certain kinds of leaks, it's better for you to kind of have an idea anyway, a general idea of what caused that leak so you know the right company to call, because the best person to call would be a general contractor, right? A general contractor theoretically knows a little bit about everything and kind of can assess the situation and determine, is it a pipe leak? Is it coming from your siding? Is it a window? Is it a roof, right? Well, I just talked about 4 trades, a trade, like a plumbing trade, roofing trade, siding trade, window trade. What is it, right? The challenge is a lot of general contractors don't troubleshoot or trace leaks. They're busy remodeling kitchens and bathrooms and things like that. So if you have a general idea of what could be causing that water issue, it can point you in the right direction of the subcontractor or the specialty trade contractor to call. Should you call a roofer? Should you call the window guy? Who do you call? So I wanted to give some tips today for the audience of kind of point you in the right direction. I'm not going to teach you how to be a repairman, right? I can't really do that over the radio, but I can give you some tips of like, hey, here's what I've seen, here's what I know, and here's the best way to kind of point you in the right direction of who to call first.
All right. What's the first tip?
The first thing is typically when you see a water stain, you're going to see it in your ceiling, right? That's usually where it comes from. If it comes up from the floor, a lot of times people are obviously going to think, it's probably not the roof because there's a stain on the floorboard. That's not necessarily true, though. I've seen water leak 3 stories down and show up on the first floor and make the carpet wet. And
wow.
A lot of, sometimes people think that's
down through the wall.
Yeah, it can do that. It's rare, but typically you're going to see a water stain, and a water stain is going to show up in the corner of a room, or it's going to show up in the middle of a room. So that's kind of like your first indication. If it shows up in the corner of a room and of a ceiling, the first thing to look for is it at the edge of the house? Is it on the eave, let's say, where the gutter would be? And if it is, it's likely to be an ice damming issue, or it could be a challenge with the way that the flashing is set up. The bottom line is you probably have a roofing issue, and you probably need to call a roofing contractor that specializes in leak repairs for roofs. Now, conversely, if you have a leak in the middle of the room, right? So here's an interesting story. I had a client that had a leak in the middle of their downstairs living room, keyword downstairs living room, and in the middle of the room, and they were insistent that the water was coming in from the roof. And it's like impossible for that to happen. It can't be. It's the middle. There's literally nothing there. So, kind of be cognizant of that on a 2-story house. But what we did find out what was there is there was actually a bathroom. Now, a lot of times people, they don't have,
I knew it.
Yeah, sometimes people don't realize how their home is constructed. They don't realize what connects to what. And so here's a quick tip. Take a measurement from the nearest window that you can see that kind of lines up with that, and measure to the center of that leak, and take another point, another wall, another window or a door, and get a cross section. Then kind of step outside, take a look at your house, see what's going on around that. And you might, in this situation, we just walked outside and I'm like, well, look, what's that window up there right above that? Well, that's the bathroom. No kidding, right? So clearly it was a toilet leak that had happened. And, there's the I don't know. The
offensive instrument.
Who knows what got flushed, whatever. So those are other things you want to look for, is where did that come from? Another thing is that if you suspect it's, if it's coming in at a wall where a wall kind of is in the same area as the roof, that could either be siding. It could be a siding issue where the water is being diverted against, going backwards. It can also be a window. Those are going to be typical places to look for those types of things.
The guy is like a detective wrapped into a construction expert, wrapped into a supermodel hunk, and a loving husband and father. His name is Tony Silva. He's the CEO of HomeRepair.com. And the number to call, if you don't want to go through the website, the number to call is 877-RED-HOUSE. Tony Silva, you'll be back next week. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise on the greatest show of all time.
Great. Thanks, Clint.